Hi, good morning. We're here with Lewis Francis from Just Design Stuff. How you doing, Lewis?
I'm good, cheers, buddy. I was cooling down in the office now, so we're definitely happy about that one.
Good stuff. So yeah, let's just go straight in. And if you'd like to tell us a little bit about what you are, sorry, who you are, what you do, how long you've been doing it for, and a little bit about the business, please.
Absolutely, yeah. So we're Just Design Stuff. So we create websites, we create rebrands, but it's primarily, I'd say, our stick is that we realign businesses with design. So what we've seen a lot of is, there's companies like Fiverr, there's People for Work, etc., which is great, and they are kind of one-use solutions. So what we do is we try to really dig deep into a business and figure out what their goals are, what the visions are. And a lot of the times we see that a business has actually grown far beyond what their actual initial vision was. And they're thinking, well, we want our socials to feel better. We want our overall brand to feel like the big leagues. And that's where we get to come in. We don't really leave any stone unturned, which can get a bit tricky sometimes, but our clients now love us because of that. And what we find is just because we have a board of directors or there's a marketing team that, they might have been told a direction, it doesn't always really align once you really piece it together with their overall approach. So what we do is we really do realign businesses with design. So that could be from websites to marketing, all the way through to the littlest flyer or, print design.
So you break it down, build it back up.
Pretty much, yeah. It sounds a bit destructive, but I think really, it's all well and good. We can get the companies that need to do the icing on the cakes, whereas we kind of want to change it from a vanilla to a chocolate.
Excellent.
So yeah.
Good description. How long have you been doing that for?
Yeah, so we've been running now for just a little over 2 years.
Yeah.
There's myself, a creative director in the office. We've collectively been doing this now for over 10. So it's with things like COVID, we'll probably get into, it all came to a nice little we met up, and the rest is the history now.
So in terms of the pandemic and then the COVID and how that sort of affected you over the last couple of years, what was its biggest impact? Was that something that, if you're doing it the last couple of years as Just Design Stuff, did that make you go into this together with your team? Absolutely.
I mean, it's weird really because of COVID-19, we created this company. So it's a case of, we were doing it freelance for a long time prior. And then COVID-19 came right as we was pretty much getting our heels in. And we started to see like the remarketing and the restructure of a lot of companies. And they were trying to jump on to, we need to warn people, the public, about what's going on. And they're now realizing that their energy drinks haven't really got that level of marketing prowess. So all of them have started to come out. They've got a lot more of a techie side to them. And we started to help a lot more smaller and medium-sized companies. So we kind of stuck with it, and we still help them to this day. So really, as sad as COVID-19 was, it really was kind of the boost for the business that we needed, really. So sure. It's both a good and a bad thing for us.
Yeah, it's a similar story with a lot of people speaking to. There's positives and there's the obvious negatives, but the kind of readjustment of many businesses. There's an upside to that in terms of planning for the future and tapping into other opportunities. So are there any actions that you've taken because of COVID-19 that have kind of stuck with the business? Anything specific?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've, in previous times, we've stuck away from the startup companies because normally they need a lot more than just what we would offer. So it's less of a case of us changing it from a vanilla to a chocolate cake. It's kind of, you're looking for us for the flour and the sugar. But what we did is we opened up the doors to allow that, because there was a lot of people starting up a business or really trying to say, well, let's give it a good go. We saw a lot of mom and pop style companies, from crochet companies all the way through to candle makers. And it was even my auntie, she got made redundant, and then she was like, she didn't want to bother us, and she's like, well, I didn't want to take up time, and she ended up spending very similar to what we would charge to create a brand and a logo and a website. and it just failed her completely. So we was like, no, we can do this, and we can help some startups, some very small businesses. And what we've been able to do really is give them that backbone structure that they need. So all of our design and websites are future proofed. So it's a case of, well, look, have this now, and then in 2 years' time, if it's successful, as we imagine it will be, you can come back to us. And we already know that that backbone is there for us to develop and evolve. So yeah, so we've gone from trying to target the medium to large businesses to now also accepting some startups and smaller businesses too.
Good stuff. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
So what does the future look like for you now, where you are going ahead, and then any main challenges that you foresee or that you've got currently to achieve future ambitions?
You know, getting aircon, if it's going to carry on being this warm, would be a must. But it's but no, seriously, yeah, our future plans, we're trying to dial down into our hiring. So we have about 3 people now who work remotely, so they'll come in based on projects. So we'll have them pop in once a week, and we have a catch up as a team to see what's going on, what's going to be upcoming. And we've been really trying to create that our own structured team that are going to be here Monday to Friday, not Monday to Thursday. You know, we're very relaxed with it. But it's, you know, the challenge we find is it's trying to find the correct people to fit a team that's creative. And you know, it's weird because like it's such a loose term, creativity. So someone might think they've had a brilliant idea, and it may well be, but to someone else that could just be a notepad scribble.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, it's all well and good. I can use Photoshop, I can use Illustrator, I can create a website, but it's, can you understand the client's needs versus what you want to give? Just because we can create something that's, you know, going to jaw drop someone, is that going to actually convert as a metric for the client? And it's trying to find people who want to understand that, as opposed to, you know, we can make pretty pictures, which is brilliant, and you know, it's always good to see. So yeah, we're rather than hastily hiring people, we're trying to come up with our own solution now of, you know, the questions, the overall interview process, and how we can dial that in. So that's been a challenge because so many questions.
Recruitment is a big thing that comes up, especially at the moment with many businesses. So you're not alone in that one. But yeah, good luck with changing and adapting and getting it sorted. No, you'll get there. You'll get there. I'm sure you will. You sound like that you want to progress it, and you've got a vision of where you want to go. So that will hold you in good stead, I'm sure. So moving on to you as a business owner then, what's the biggest learning that you've had since becoming a business owner?
Oh, wow.
Can highlight one.
It's the boring stuff, right? To be honest, in my opinion, it's the importance of a contract. And it's the last thing anybody imagines with a creative agency. You know, it's a case of, you know, what do you mean contracts and signing this? But once we've had a few times where we've stumbled, and but the importance of a deliverables, and then having a contract which just outlines what you are willing to do, what you're willing to accept, you know, because again, with websites, with branding, a lot of it is, you know, it's contextual. There's your side and your thinking versus other people. And it's how can you secure yourself and your team to make sure that, you know, you have delivered what you told them is going to be worth that money. And by having a contract in place and a deliverable list, it's very difficult to kind of divert from that. So we have, you know, we would meet up, we'd understand what you're after, we'd create our deliverables, and we'd submit that. So everybody can say, yep, that's really cool. The contract pretty much just gives you the T's and C's of, you know, timescales, intellectual properties, typeface licenses. But yeah, I think that's one of the biggest learning parts for me. It's just so important and integral to successful campaigns or processes.
Getting that clarity from the start.
The boring stuff.
The expectations. It does sound like you've learned from experience on that one.
Oh yeah. I wish I could say it's finding out how to add glitter to a typeface. That'd be brilliant, but it's really not. It's the pile of paper we print before everything.
And then if we were to meet yourself at 18, Lewis, what would be the best piece of advice you could give to yourself?
Yeah, within context, I mean, so when I was 8, I was very much a studious person. I understood the importance of learning and textbooks and being on time, to understanding your course, your university assignments, which is brilliant. And I think I became a very good student. But understanding the importance of actual experience. So, I shied away from maybe agency placements because, well, I'd have less time to fulfill a project that's for university or whatever. But actually seeing the ins and outs and the nitty gritties of how an agency works. Everyone is different. Everyone has a different process. The ones that I did, you pick up and learn so many ins and outs that it's just vital to understand the area that you're going to go into for first person. It's all well and good to read it, and there's blogs that you can check out, and someone gives you the ideal day of a graphic designer. It's but actually getting there, sitting there, hearing the conversations, hearing the disputes, and thinking, how could you handle that better? So if I could go back to my 18-year-old self, it would be explore and, be willing to continue independent studies, but try and just think further ahead.
Good stuff. Thank you. So is there anything at the moment that inspires you through what you do? So it could be work colleagues or friends, family, anything, any podcasts?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's, friends and family, they're inspirations all themselves. We're all hard workers. My team are unbelievably hard workers. From us being a startup, it's, it's going crazy. I mean, deadlines is a big inspiration for myself and Christian, the creative director. We're weird, but we absolutely love the crunch time. So there's no better time to have a good idea when you've got a week left. So it's, but as well, the state of the world right now. I mean, there's just so much change going on, be that good and bad. It's inspiring to see how quickly something changes. I mean, I'm 32 and I thought, honestly, the world was just fine. And as soon as I've hit my 30s, everything's going a bit upside down. So it's understanding that things change and sometimes you can't do nothing about it. So it's you need to try and find your wins and commit to what makes you happy. And that's family, friends, deadlines.
Excellent. Thank you. And then finally, is there any sort of latest news about your business or anything you'd like to mention with regards to just design stuff that you think is worthy of note to anybody out there who's maybe interested in your graphic design services?
I mean, we've literally last week finalized our own website, which was an absolute pain. Everybody knows trying to work on your own stuff.
It gets to the bottom.
It's not the Just Design stuff way, but it's we've literally just finished all that. We have case studies going up now. So people who really maybe think, well, what is the next step from just having a logo commissioned? How do I progress that? We have, a wealth of case studies on our website where people can find and look at our thinking, from large companies to the smaller ones. And if that's something that fits them, guys, brilliant. And we obviously, if any of the listeners or the readers, want to kind of quote the website that they're seeing it on now, for you, Mike, we can speak and have a bit of a discount added into it in total there. Cool. But yeah, it'd be great for someone to check it out because we put a lot of time into it.
Well, I when I look at your website, how to describe you. You see a lot of websites every day, but I was impressed and sort of taken aback a bit. Like, this one's different. I like this one.
Yeah, for sure. That's it. My web developer would say otherwise. I was an absolute nightmare with it. But again, it's the case of when is it ever good enough?
Yeah.
So it's hopefully we're getting there. And again, like with our own stuff and like our clients, everything's an evolution. We'll revisit, we'll rework, and check it out. But it's exciting.
Made a good impression on me, which I'm assuming
that's all I needed, Mike.
One of the
made my week.
One of the aspects you were looking for in doing it. Brilliant.
Yeah, well, that's it. Yeah, it was part of the deliverables.
Yeah. Excellent. Thanks, Lewis. All the best with everything, and it's been really good.
Thank you so much. Yes.
Yes.
Bye-bye now.